take care of your inside world, your outside world will fall into place. And in this one, I want to help you with your inside world so that your outside world will fall into place. So without further ado, let's get into it. In this one, we are talking about The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. And this book is a fictitious tale about Julian Mantle, who on the surface seemed like he had it all. He graduated from the infamous Harvard Law School, and he was one of the most well-known lawyers across the entire US. You know, he had things like a mansion, he was earning 7 figures, and he had a Ferrari parked outside. And on the surface, like I said, it seemed like he was living the dream. Below the surface, he was struggling. Almost every day there was a new case that he had to work on very diligently, up until it came to the point where the stress just got too much for him and he had a severe heart attack right in the middle of a courtroom. After that incident, he never returned to practicing law again, and some at his firm actually said that they never saw him again. And the rumor that was going around was that he actually moved to India in search of a happier, simpler and more fulfilled life. And before that, he sold all of his possessions, including his mansion and his Ferrari. 3 years later, without warning, he showed up to a former colleague's office, and he was almost unrecognizable just because of how healthy he looked. And we later find out that he was trekking to different villages in India by foot. And on his journey, he learned about these yogis that seemingly defied aging. And in Kashmir specifically, he came across these great sages of Savannah, and this inspired him to trek to the Himalayan mountains, and he ended up finding some monks there. And it was there that he had a reawakening and came in contact with his soul. In the mountains, Mantle came across the sages of Savannah, and Yogi Raman in particular shared his wisdom with Mantle, and they talked about things like the meaning of life and how Mantle could achieve greater vitality, how he can be more creative, and how he can live a more fulfilled life. And the sages agreed to teach him all that they knew under one condition, and that was he was to return and spread all that he was taught. And this is exactly why he had returned back to his law practice. And there were 7 virtues in particular that define the Savannah system. Virtue number 1 in the Savannah system is all about controlling your mind, and this is essentially just blocking off the negative thoughts and only allowing positive ones in. And I just want to add something on my end. I know that's not always possible. So look to reframe the negative thoughts with positive ones as soon as the negative ones come up. At the end of the day, our thoughts determine our reality and in turn our lives. And if you want to live a more meaningful, happier and fulfilled life, you have to replace your current thoughts with happier, more meaningful and fulfilling thoughts. But you might be asking, like, how do I think about more fulfilling thoughts? The thing with that is you always have a choice on what to think about. If your thoughts are not uplifting you, it's always your choice to switch your thoughts. Another way that can help you with this is boosting your concentration. In the book, they call it the heart of the rose. So what you would do in this case is you take a rose and just analyze the rose, like every aspect of the rose, like the texture, the color, the smell, everything about it. And this is essentially just meditation. I started this, maybe I did this a couple of times, but then I realized that I didn't have any roses that I could continuously be doing this with, so I switched it up. I decided to meditate. The first way I meditated was by listening to all the sounds around me, which helped. I felt like I mastered that. And the second one I'm doing currently is just focusing on your breath, your inhale and your exhale, and just set a timer on your phone. And when you first start off, you'll find that it's extremely hard. Like, so many thoughts will just be coming at you, but you always have to go back to the method of meditation you decided on. So let's say it was breathing, right? All these thoughts will come in. Just go back to your breath, and you'll find that eventually you'll be able to command your thoughts way better. The second virtue virtue in this Savannah system is all about purpose. These sages had a clear sense of purpose, so they never wasted their time. They believed that it was their duty to fulfill these purposes. When referring to the purpose, the monks use a Sanskrit word that is known as dharma, which translates to life's purpose. And they believe that each one of us came with a specific dharma, and following your dharma can lead to a life of fulfillment and inner harmony. And the best way to achieve your life's purpose is setting clearly defined goals, because after all, you cannot hit a target that you cannot see. And they developed a 5-step process for this. First is you have to create a mental image. Say you want to lose weight, you have to imagine yourself as a healthier, leaner, and slimmer version of yourself. The second stage is just applying pressure on yourself, but in a good way. The thing with pressure is if you put pressure on yourself, it inspires you and pushes you to realize your full potential. And one way you could do this is by telling other people your plans. Third stages is simply just having a timeline. To get your goal underway, you have to have a deadline in sight. Fourth step, as explained by Yogi Raman, is the rule of 21. This essentially says a habit is developed if you do it for 21 days in a row. And the fifth step, my friends, just enjoy the process. Another one of these virtues in this system is known as Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese word that stands for continuous improvement, and it is the key to unlocking your full potential. And there were actually 10 steps the sages had, 10 steps or 10 stages that the sages had in order to live a radiant life. First ritual is the ritual of solitude. And this is just taking some time in your day just to be alone in silence. And this essentially helps with calming your mind and accessing your creativity. And the second ritual is a ritual of physicality, and this is simply just moving your body. They say whatever is good for your body is good for your mind as well. The next ritual is a ritual of nourishment, and this is pretty much just eating live foods, and they recommend eating a vegetarian diet, which I'm still working on. And the fifth ritual is the ritual of abundant knowledge, and this is simply just continuous learning. They say that you should keep your mind stimulated by doing things like reading and studying. My bad, the last ritual is ritual number 4, and this is ritual number 5, which is personal reflection. And this is just asking yourself contemplative questions about yourself, your activities, things you're doing on a daily basis. You know, asking yourself like, can I have done this better? The sixth ritual is the ritual of early rising, and this is simply just waking up early. They say that you should aim for around 6 hours of sleep, and you should wake up around the same time that the sun is rising. Next is the ritual of music. It's just vibing to some good music, because you know, when you listen to good music, it uplifts your mood. And ritual number 8 is a ritual of the spoken word, and this just says to create a personal mantra specific for you that inspires and motivates you. Ritual number 9 is a ritual of congruent character, and this just means that you follow through on all of your principles. Lastly, we have the ritual of simplicity, and this is just living a simple life, focusing on your priorities and doing meaningful activities. Next virtue in the system is a virtue of discipline, and discipline, just like concentration, is a muscle, and you got to develop it over time. And Yogi Raman actually has an exercise he loves for this, which is the vow of silence, and this is essentially just not talking for an entire day. And this, I mean, I haven't done it myself personally, but it's said to increase your willpower like tenfold. The next virtue is all about respecting time. The sages believe that if you master time, you're essentially mastering life. And every time they see an hourglass, it reminds them of their mortality and how they should live life to its fullest. And that's why you have to use your time more efficiently and plan the things you're actually going to do. You can do this by taking 15 minutes in at the end of your day to plan the following day, or on Sundays just taking some time out and planning your week. And another teaching is simply just knowing when to say no. You know, ask yourself, like, if this was my last day on this planet, would I want to do this? And if not, I mean, if you can, there's certain obligations you might not be able to say no to, but if you can, say no and use your time more efficiently. Monks also believe you should be kind and compassionate to other people as it improves your own life. And you can do this by just taking some time out of your day and think about what goodness you can spread in the world. And you can do this by sincerely praising others, helping friends or family, and making YouTube videos. And by doing this, you'll live a happier life. And the monks also believed in living in the now. They knew that happiness was not some destination, but the journey itself. And as we travel along our paths, life will present many small wonders to us. And we won't truly appreciate these wonders if we do not practice gratitude on a daily basis. And that means truly appreciating your health, your friends and family, and even small things like the birds singing. And there's nothing more important than the here and now. That is it with this one. Thank you if you made it this far. And before you go, I just keep in mind that it's possible for every single one of us to live joyful and more fulfilling lives. And use this template. Use this information that I've shared with you as a template. You know, you don't have to follow it with. You don't have to follow it religiously. Just use it as a template, and trust me, it really does work. It really does work. And as always, if you got any value, that like button. If you have any thoughts you want to share, the comment section down below is there for you. Share with anyone you think will gain some value from this. And until next time.